Alright, this video we're going to talk about reloading components, and situation doesn't look too good with them. As we all know, reloading components over the past 4 years, just like with ammo and guns, got scarce, disappeared, and the prices people were asking for stuff was beyond outrageous. $170, I think it peaked, or $180 for 1,000 primers of any size for a brick. And I've heard of people going into a store and being allowed to buy a tray of 100 primers for $30 and only one a day. A guy went in there and said, I only want to load 300 rounds of rifle ammo. And the guy that ran the store that he's been to, all the time said, I'll sell you one tray of 100 for $30. Come back tomorrow and I'll sell you another. It was bad, okay? So where it all kind of ended up over time, primers, now I just checked, $90 1,000 is about the going rate, give or take. Sometimes they have an off-brand, they'll sell for less, or a flash sale like when I bought those foreign large pistol primers. I kind of got them for about $50 1,000, or something like that. And that was on a flash sale, because I went back 2 days later and that price is way up again. So it's the same situation, hit or miss. They got inventory that doesn't move. People ain't really beating the door down to buy them at $90 1,000 or 100 and something, because you have to realize if you're not going to the place and picking it up physically, if you're having it mailed to you, it's like $30 just for the HADMAD fee, not the shipping and handling and not the sales tax. Most places now will charge you sales tax no matter how many states away or on the other side of the country, they charge you sales tax. So, it's tough, all right? And if they're in supply. Like at one point I was looking for certain brass cases, not there. Then when they do come in, they're much higher than they were the last time. It's like some rifle cases, I remember paying 70 cents a piece for them, say 6 years ago, and now if and when you find them, I'm paying $1.25 a piece for them. Some brass is non-existent. In other words, Starline quit making all the, I'll say, cowboy action brass. 50-70, 45-70, 44-40, 38-40, and 32-25. They're not making it, they're not taking back orders as of now. Some of the other ones that were in that position are kind of gradually coming back where they're taking back orders. So we'll see. Now everyone goes, well, they're asking me, is it going to get better? Well, and then again, you really can't tell the information that they're giving you, what you hear, if it's real or not. But there were 3 main causes why we're in the situation that we're in. First one was with all these wars and all this material we were sending to the Ukraine, that the companies are making more money making a war product. The companies that make the powder, okay, I'm talking about smokeless powder, they're making more money making components for artillery shells than they are for producing smokeless powder for commercial sales, which in reality is only about 12% of their sales. Okay, so everyone said because of that, And because of this ongoing crisis, these companies are diverting the materials, making it for the war, so henceforth they're not making it for the commercial market. Okay, that's one thing. And there was, I think, IMR or somebody announced, I did a video on it, that after a certain point, they're just going to stop making stuff commercially, commercial product, retail products, because of that. Now, that's one theory. Second one, with this economic arguing and stuff with China and Russia, and that there's these sanctions have been put. This is in the middle of all this conflict. So they put these sanctions on China and Russia. China supplies like 70% or 75% of the nitrocellulose, which is the main component used in making smokeless powder. So this supply was cut off from the U.S. And Russia also, potassium nitrate or fertilizers and stuff, there's stuff that was coming out of Russia too, which is a sole supplier, or supplies a bulk of the world supply, not just our supply, the world supply of some materials. So they said that cut off stuff, and this is creating the shortages all the way around, and this is long term, and there's no idea when there's relief. Then there's a third theory that a friend of mine came up with, that the government, in a roundabout backdoor gun control, is pressuring these major corporations who do have large contracts with the government to not produce or let out stuff to the civilian market, which could be true. How much of it is true or how much of it has a real effect, I don't know. The first two kind of make sense, but, to what degree, I have no idea. But prices, like I said, primers are about $90 I found. Different brass and bullets, if and when available, is kind of hit or miss, and they all have increased in price no matter who's supplying them, slightly. Not quite too dramatically like powder and primers. Powder, you're looking, if you can get a brand of powder or type of powder for about $40 a pound, you're lucky, and they go upwards to 60, some 70 depending, because normally if you look at your range of available powders, there's always some brands or some types that are a bit more expensive than average. Okay, so this has always been the case, but now that the prices are elevated, where the average cost was, say, $25 a pound, now it's somewhat $55, $60 in that price range, and accordingly more expensive ones are up there to $70. Some of the ones that aren't that expensive maybe down in the $40s or something like that. And add hazmat fees, which, if you can't go somewhere and buy it, and then usually what I find online, once I go to the store, you see it's a tad bit more expensive because of the increase of it, or they know you'd have to pay the hazmat fee. So, they keep it on a level there. In my situation, if I wanted to drive 40 minutes to a place, and it's one of the few places locally that will stock a whole bunch of powder, it's kind of like first come, first serve. You have to physically show up there, and the guy will sell you, the powder right there and then, be it an 8-pound jug or something. He won't hold nothing for anyone or anything like that, because that's where my friend goes and buys the powder himself. But to me, it's a little bit of a hassle, and it's kind of like, is it going to be there or not, If I traveled that way on a regular basis for a reason, then I'd stop. That's what my friend does. He has to go down and do something down that direction, and he just stops in and sees if they have what they need at the shop. So reloading components, I mean, it's not as insane as it was. There are supplies. I found small pistol primers, one brand, but not the others. And like I said, 90 1,000. And you can find them. Sometimes you can't. Like 8 months ago, you couldn't find large rifle primers to save your life. I mean, it was crazy. We'll look at powders here. This primers, large rifle primers. Let's see what we got. Max Tech's making them, $82. That's an odd one, and it's out of stock. CCI, my favorite, but $92. 94 for Federal, Yoshi, and most of them are out of stock other than Max Tech or Ginix. Ginix or Unix, Ginix primers, large rifle nickel, 5,000 of them for $469. You might have to buy them in bulk to get a price, but it's tough. Is it going to get better? That I don't know, because like I said, the three main root causes supposedly of this, how true they are, or if there is manipulation by the government forces, I'm not quite sure. Hopefully with the new president, we will see this change, or these pressures put on these companies for these reasons may be alleviated. So maybe we'll see some more come out, be available. And then again, just like with the firearms, if they relieve the pressure on them, they start producing the stuff and they get a backlog of it, you will see prices start to come down, okay, a little. If they'll ever reach the area that we started at, like say, let's make it $30 for 1,000 primers, I don't know if it'll ever get that low again, because it's 3 times that now. Maybe you get down to 60 or 50 or something would be considered reasonable in these times that we're in. But that's a tough one, and reloading components are rough. And I even priced out, like for Tokarev ammo. If I bought the components, I don't even know what powder I'd use, but just to buy the cases, the bullets, and that, when I calculated what it would cost me to buy the components, it's almost coming out to that $30 a box. You're not really going to save much reloading, other than once you fire the cases once and reload them, that's 26 cents around less having the fired cases. Okay, so in reloading, that's what it would be if you had a bunch of reloadable once fired cases, okay, in hand. All right, then you'd be saving money, okay, or reloading the cases you bought for 26 cents a piece 4 or 5 times. Each time you reuse the case is saving you some money. So that's a tough one. And if it's going to get better, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how things go. All right, it could be that the cost, I believe the cost will be elevated somewhat. If they'll stay at 3 times the cost of 5 years ago, or like I said, maybe it'll only be twice as expensive as 5 years ago. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But as of right now, it's better than it was. I can find some sort of primers, whereas 3 years ago I could find no primers of any type. okay, and they were all well over $100 a thousand. So it's better, but it still is not good. And if it ever will improve, I kind of don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's where it stands right now, post-election. All right, gentlemen, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.